Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. As-salatu was-salamu ala khayri khalqihi Sayyidina wa Maulana Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Allahumma rabbi la tu'akhidni bima yaqulun waghfir li ma la ya'lamun waj'alni khayran mimma yadhunnun. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Kullu nafsin dha'iqatul maut. Kullu nafsin dha'iqatul maut. Sadaqallahu al-Mawlana Azim. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in different ayah, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وما جعلنا لأحد من قبلك الموت أفإن مت أفهم الخالدون. Sadaqallahu al-Azim. Means kullu nafsin dha'iqatul maut. Each single person, each single life person is going to die. Kullu nafsin dha'iqatul maut. And then in different the second ayah Allah says he says ma ja'alna li ahadin min qablika al-khuld. We didn't give anyone before you, O Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to stay alive before you. Means each single person is going to die. So if when you will die, afahumul khalidun, do you think that they are going to stay alive? Of course not. Each single person is going to die. Well, again, the life after the death is definitely different. So prophets are going to stay alive after the death, but the normal people, after their death, they're going to have different condition of, you can say, life after the death. Anyway, in one of the hadith, Rasulullah ﷺ says, in hadith Qudsi, so hadith is metaphoric. Allah never was confused. Taraddud in Arabic language means confused, but Allah is never confused, but it is just metaphoric use. Allah was never confused with anything in terms of taking a solid decision, as he is confused with taking the life of the mu'min, of the believer. Because mu'min, so the normal person, there is no any of us who is willing to stay dead. So all of us, we love to remain alive, because death, first of all, is a very painful thing, as well as the life which is going to be after the death, that is unseen. So we don't know what's going to happen to us. Okay, so then definitely just right before the death, as soon as you will assume that now you are going to die, you will be really scared. So Rasulullah says that mu'min, just before the death, he will wish if he can stay alive before he will get the message that Allah is missing him. But in the same time, he has to die, because everything is dying except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Rasulullah says, Allah never was confused in terms of taking solid decision as he is confused with taking the life of the believer. Why? Because Allah doesn't want to hurt the believer, but in the same time he has to die, because Allah before created the creature, he created the death. He decided the death. As you know, in Surah Al-Mulk, Allah says خَلَقَ الْمَوْتَ وَالْحَيَّاةَ. Allah created the death and the life. So death created before we have been created. So we are all going to die, and as you see, because of the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah doesn't want to hurt us, but in the same time, death is necessity. Okay, we're all going to die. In one of the hadith, Rasulullah says, Man ahabba liqa Allah, ahabba Allahu liqa'ah. Anyone who will wish to meet Allah, Allah will wish to meet him. So then Sahaba said, Ya Rasulullah, وَأَيُّم مِنَّا يُحِبُّ الْمَوْتِ. Ya Rasulullah, is there any of us amongst us believers wish to die? Because we are not going to meet God before we will die. Am I right? Okay, so it's very strange. So if any of you will wish to meet God, so Allah will wish to meet him. So then, is there any of you right now is wishing to die? No one. So Rasulullah, so Sahaba said, Ya Rasulullah, is there any of us is willing to die? Rasulullah said, I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about what you're asking. But then Rasulullah said, but just as soon as a person will start dying, so then angels will come down. So then it depends on how person is. So if it is proper believer, very honest person, so then angels will pass on the message of God saying, O pure soul, O pure ruh, Allah is sending his salam and Allah is missing to see you. So then Rasulullah said, after getting that message, believer will miss God. So that is the meaning of you wishing to see God, and then God is wishing to see you. Okay? But then if it will be non-believer or disobedient, hypocrite, so then angel, just as soon as he will start dying, angel will come down giving him message of God saying, O dirty ruh, O filthy ruh, Allah is not willing to see you, and Allah is actually angry at you. So then that Rasulullah says, that person who is dying, it will be the most non-desirable thing to meet God, because Allah is not willing to see his face, you know. So Allah will not wish to see him also. Okay? So Allah will not wish to see him also. In different hadith, Sayyidah Aisha says that Rasulullah said that when, as you know, there is hadith in which it says that if Allah will decrete that you are going to go to paradise, so then it's very possible that whole life you will spend committing sins. But then when there will be distance of just one arm between you and the hellfire, your decree will come and force you to do something beautiful, and then you will die doing something beautiful, and then you will go to paradise. But what about whole life spent on committing sins and kufr, so many bad things? So Rasulullah says, Al-a'malu bil-khawatim. So the fruit of what you have been doing, it will be judged by what you have done as a last, at the last bit of your life. Okay? As you know, all of the Sahaba, they were very, very scared. Am I right? Okay, so Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu says, if in Yawm al-Qiyamah, if it will be shouted saying, all people who are resurrected, everyone is going to paradise except one amongst you. So Umar radiallahu anhu said that I will be afraid that that is going to be me. Okay, so whatever we do during the lifetime is just nothing, but only the last bit of our life. Okay, so look, for example, now I'm Sh.Atabek and I'm teaching, you know, and I'm so spiritually high, as you can see me, you know, as you think about me. But then, who knows what's going to be at the end of my life? Okay, because we know so many scholars, great scholars, who are going to enter the hell. Am I right? Because the last bit of your life wasn't perfect as it was the first and the, you can say, the duration of their life, the first, earliest period of their life. Al-a'malu bil-khawatim. Whatever you do last, that's what you are after your death. Okay? That's what you are after the death. So Sayyidah Aisha says, when Allah decides some of the people to go to paradise, so then just before 1 year before his death, angel will come down to him, okay, and angel will carry on whispering to his mind to do good. So the last year of his life is going to be so beautiful. But what about the earliest? It could be very bad. Okay, so then that is when Allah is willing to see you. Allah will be wishing to see you. But if Allah will decide to send you to the hell, so in the last year, 1 year, whole year, before your death, Allah will release the shayateen to be your friends. And then they will carry on whispering into your mind, and then you will start committing sins. You know, can I just ask you one question? Please, do you remember, any of you, so maybe if you had some relatives, uncle, auntie, or maybe grandfathers, or some of your friends who died, maybe within the last 5 years. Any of you did have such experience? Please put your hand up, please. Okay, so now my question. Do you remember what was the last year of their life? I had a friend who was a really bad man. He's younger than me for 1 year, okay? And he died, it was 1994, okay? But then, the last bit of his life, he was totally different, you know? Okay, so he has been thrown from the 9th floor, actually. It is the building, so my house is 2nd floor. So he has been thrown from the 9th floor. Okay, so then it was totally different, you know, because I used to go to the madrasa studying, but he used to go with different things, you know, with the women, etc. Do you understand what I mean? But then, just before a couple of months before his death, he just changed, totally changed. More responsibility, more caring about his family. And then his sister says that just few hours before his death, she says, I saw his face and it was so like a moon, you know. And after a couple of hours, he has been thrown from the 9th floor. Okay, so can you remember about the person that died, that you had an experience? So the last bit of their life normally will not be as they used to be before. It's going to be higher or lower. Okay, so it is the period in which angel or shaitan will get engaged to that person. Okay, so definitely we are going to have the same condition at the last year of our life. Okay, so it's not possible. For example, I'm sheikh and I'm mashallah praying, etc. So it's not possible for me that if, may Allah forbid, if it's decided about me that I'm going to end up in very bad situation, so the last year, straight from the first day when shayateen will get engaged, I'm not going to be straight away bad, but it will be stage by stage. But the last 2 months, I will be proper. So the last 2 months will show what the person is, where he's going to end up. Do you understand what I mean? So because if it's the same thing about teaching, when you will teach someone, so person is not going to change from the day one. But after about 6 months or 8 months, then when you will see if person is going to be scholar or not. The same thing when angels will be sent to the disobedient, so angels will not convert him into the pious man from the day one. But they will carry on whispering to him to do good and to be good till they will change him in about 6 months or 8 months. Okay, so that's what Sayyidah Aisha says. If it is hadith from Rasulullah, if Allah will decide some of his slaves to end up in paradise, so the last 1 year of his life, Allah will send him an angels, so the angels will carry on whispering to him to do good or to be good. Exactly other way around. If Allah did decide about one of his slaves to end up in the hell, so Allah will release the shayateen to him, so then he will keep the company of shayateen. Okay, so it's proper shayateen, like a jinnat, and shayateen will carry on whispering to his ear and to his mind to do bad and to be bad. Till you will see, maybe just last a couple of days before his death, he will be proper evil man. Okay, but then you will say in your mind, how come that this person was great person, you know, pious, obedient, doing so many Islamic activities, but now look at him. Okay, so that is the explanation of what is happening. Okay, so that is the explanation of what is happening. Yeah. Hey Allah. So it's very strange actually. You know, there is an issue about the dead people. As you know, we as Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah means four madhahib. We do believe that the dead people in their graves, they can recognize us as well as they can hear our voice and our words. Okay? In one of the hadith, Rasulullah ﷺ says, hadith is weak, but it is accepted by ijma'. So it is sunnah. What I'm going to say, it is sunnah, mustahab in four madhahib. Rasulullah ﷺ says, when a body will be put into the grave, so then Rasulullah ﷺ said, let one of you to call him by his name and by his mother's name, and remind him, saying that, O Fulan ibn Fulana, for example, O Ahmad bin Fatima, because his mother's name was Fatima. Don't forget that you have spent whole of your life being Muslim and saying, La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. Rasulullah is saying. So then when you will do it, Munkar and Nakir will come, and then one will say to the other. Okay, how you are going to test the person who has been reminded his answer? So then Rasulullah say that they will leave the grave without asking questioning the person. Okay, if you remember, Rasulullah in different hadith is describing the Munkar and Nakir, saying it is the angels, black and blue angels. Black and blue angels. Okay, so then some of the scholars said it is the body is black and eyes are blue. But some said it is the skin condition, black, blue. But some said one of them is black and the other is blue. So it is totally different creatures. Okay, a Munkar and Nakir. Munkar in Arabic language means Munkar, something that you neglect, ignore, deny. Means you do not recognize. Means it doesn't look like human being, and it doesn't look like jinn, it doesn't look like anything. Munkar, because you do not recognize, and Nakir is extra version of non-recognizable thing. Okay, so you do not when you will get that thing, so is it a rock or is it it doesn't look like anything, so it is totally new creature. Okay, as well as Rasulullah says that when they speak, their voice is like, do you know that lightning? Like that. Okay, can you imagine? One question, if I can ask you please, did you have ever, I did have once I was kid, and I was with my uncle, and just we went to the countryside, okay, hills and just we were walking there, and then we met some shepherd. So shepherd just passed us, and after the shepherd, the animals were coming, and one of the cows, I saw cow running, so I thought that it's running after me, so I started running, also. So I was so scared. Okay, so I was so scared, so I forgot that I was next to my uncle, and there was shepherd also. I forgot everything. Okay, because my uncle could protect me as well as shepherd could protect me. So I didn't run towards them, but I started running, thinking that I have to save myself by myself. So you forget about everything else. So can you imagine what would happen to me if it wouldn't be a cow, but if it would be wolf, or tiger, or lion, or dragon? Okay, so, but what about if it is Munkar and Nakir? So that is proper scary thing. Okay, so if you will not have very strong iman, you will forget about everything, You may forget about your name also. And they're going to question you, three things. Okay, and it is so amazing if you can secure that these angels, when they will come into your grave, they will leave without questioning you. Okay, so that hadith actually gives us solution how to get rid of them. Okay, even if hadith is weak, but we say ijma' of four madhahib has been set up upon this hadith. So we say it is mustahab. Okay, so that is one thing. And the second thing is, you know, when we die, there are, according to the hadith, few things can enter our grave, even before this munkar and nakir will come. Okay, so Rasulullah did say that us being good to our parents will enter the grave with us, as well as our wudu and our sadaqah and our salat 5 times a day. So these are the deeds will enter the grave with us. And the rest of the good deeds that we do, for example, I'm teaching you and you are learning, so it is studying and teaching. So that will come to join us in the grave after munkar and nakir. Okay, but then something will enter before that also. So the first, quickest one is us being good and gentle to our parents. Okay, for example, let's say that once a week I go to visit my mother, or I go to visit my father. Maybe I will just buy small gifts, you know, okay, for my parents. So that is the first ever thing to join us in our grave. And according to the ahadith, it will be having a discussion with the munkar and nakir. So it is your solicitor actually. Okay, and you know, unfortunately, we as a Muslims, we are maybe the worst people to our parents. Okay, I had many scenarios in which actually we were very harsh with our mothers, not with our fathers. Why? Because our fathers are strong enough to give us a slap, but with our mothers. Unfortunately, we Muslims are really bad about that thing, you know. Recently, one of my friends from Oldham told me a story. He's a social worker. Okay, so he said that he has got a phone call, emergency, about some old lady has been hurt. Okay, so then he went with some white man, with English white man, and it was Asian family. And it was very old lady with broken arm. Okay, and then what was the problem? The problem was that her son was engaged into the drugs. Do you know, normally when these people who take drugs, well, there will be time in which they need to get a drug, you know. They do not recognize anyone. So her son come and doesn't find that there is money. So then he started chasing up his mother. And his mother didn't have any money also. Okay, so then he did beat up his mother. So he has broken the arm of his mother. And then he left. So his mother was crying. But guess, she wasn't crying because of the damaged arm. But then, so when my friend went with that Englishman, so they asked, what's the matter? So he was repeating only one thing, saying that my son left the house without eating his lunch. Okay, it's not like a legend or myth. Okay, so it did happen very recently. Okay, and the brother who is working as social worker is very close friend of mine. Okay, so then my friend says, so I started crying for that also. And then that white man thought that she's crazy. Because she didn't answer, because we are Asian people are strange, you know. So he found a lady insane. Okay, because why is she crying for that, for her son not eating lunch, and why she's not crying for her arm to be damaged, you know? So it's very strange. Okay, so we as Muslims, we are not good to our mothers. We can shout at them, we could even beat up our mothers. So if he's going to die on that status, I swear by God that his silatul rahim, or him being obedient to his parents, are not going to enter to the grave with him before munkar and nakir will come. I swear by God, you know. So it is very strange. Okay, so then can you imagine, but amongst us, there are so pure and noble people who kiss the hand and feet of their mothers, serve them perfectly. Okay, they could be hungry, but they will go to feed their mothers. Who, in 2 words, who will be holding their mothers in their hands. So those brothers and sisters who did secure a solicitor who will be discussing with munkar and nakir. They will be just relaxing and watching in their graves. Okay, so because we say in Arabic language, we say nothing scratches your back as your hand, you know. So if you are going to rely on us, alive, when you will die, that I'm going to shout your name and your mother's name, reminding your kalima, so then it will not happen all the time. Am I right? But if you will make sure that you are going to get your proof with yourself, that's even better. Because I may shout or I may not shout. But if you will secure to get your solicitor with you, that is 100% secured. Do you understand what I mean? Okay? So don't think that when you will die, someone is going to shout to remind your proof, to discuss, to argue with the Munkar and Nakir. But make sure that you are good with your mother, so that thing will enter the grave with you before even Munkar and Nakir will come. Okay, so that's very important advice. Okay, as well as your sadaqah will enter your grave. What's the meaning of sadaqah? Whenever you find a people, needy people, you support them. You know, we in the UK, our income is really good actually. Okay, so income of some of us on the level in which even after spending for the daily needs, he will have something to put into his pocket. So now, what are you going to do with this money? So you are saving it for Black Day, am I right? For the day in which you are going to need it. So then, is there any day in which you need it more than your grave or Yawm al-Qiyamah? So save something for that also, you know. Build on your credit for your grave also, you know. Rasulullah says, when Munkar and Nakir will come to enter the grave to test the person, so first thing they will try to enter from his, wherever his hands lie. Okay, so then his hands will shout back saying, there is no way, there is no access through this way, because he used to use me to give charity, sadaqah to the poor people, you know. So that's the first thing, you know. Okay, and another thing which will enter your grave before Munkar and Nakir will come is you walking towards salat and towards seeking a knowledge. Some of us, mashallah, they have done perfect credit, which will be enough for them even now, who made maybe hundreds of miles going to the masjid and coming back. And some of us made thousands of miles walking towards seeking knowledge and teaching. And some of us made thousands of miles to walk to help the needy people, you know. Okay, so all of that is credit of your legs. So the next turn of the Munkar and Nakir to try to get into your grave through the way of your, you know, which is towards your legs. And then your legs will shout back saying, there is no access through our side, you know. Why? Because he actually made perfect credit walking towards good deeds. Salat, knowledge, helping the people, etc. So a lot of walking distances. So no way for you. Okay. And the next is going to be through his face. Okay. You know, some of us, or most of us, we think that when we do wudu, we do it perfectly. And when we do sajda, we do it again perfectly. Okay? But if you just study Mukhtasar al-Quduri or maybe Nur al-Idah perfectly, then you understand that actually our salat and our wudu actually was not very perfect. Then when you understand it. Okay? So then, for example, Imam Ali radiallahu anhu says, if I would know that Allah accepted only one sajda of mine, and as you know, Imam Ali used to pray a lot, am I right? Millions of sajdas. So he says, if I would know that Allah accepted only one sajda, لَاتَّكَلْتُ عَلَيْهَا, I would just rely on it. I wouldn't do anything else, because whenever Allah accepts one sajda, and so Allah is so generous. Can you imagine? You gave so many gifts to some king, and then he accepted one of them. So do you think that when you will do something wrong, he will punish you? Never. Because he accepted your gift. And the generous and noble people, they never hurt the people from whom they have taken some gift, you know. They will recognize you giving them a gift, you know. So what do you think about God, who is the most generous? So Ali radiallahu anhu says, if I would know that Allah accepted only single sajda of mine, I would just rely on it. I wouldn't do anything else. So if Imam Ali radiallahu anhu, who is skeptical about his wudu and about his salat, so why are you so confident about your wudu and about your salat? Just go and study Nurul Idah. Then when you will understand that maybe you didn't perform a single salat properly. So if Allah did accept, so it's not because you did perfectly, but because Allah was very soft with you, very merciful with you. Or otherwise, your salat wouldn't worth not to be accepted, but even to be turned towards, you know. Okay. So anyway, the next trial of the Munkar and Nakir is going to be through your head. Okay. So then, some of the brothers and sisters, their head will reply back to them, saying, there is no access for you guys to come through me. Why? Because he spent so many nights and so many days praying, so putting me on the ground and washing me to perfect his wudu. So no access for you guys. Okay? So there are so many protections for you from these two angels, Munkar and Nakir. The first protection, it is depending on someone else's support. And as you know, we are heedless people. We do not help each other. Okay? Because, I don't know, I went to Janazah and to the burial for so many times, but so far I haven't seen a single person implementing that sunnah, shouting the person's name. And is there anyone have seen it? Please put your hand up. I went to many janazahs and burials, but even, do you know, the kids of the people, they were there, but no one did shout it. So no one is doing it now, you know? Or is there any of you?
Just seen it on YouTube on a video clip.
Okay, but okay, but in here, no one have seen. Yeah, so it's lost sunnah. It is lost sunnah. And unfortunately, mashallah, now we have a brothers. First question is hadith in Bukhari. No, brother, it is weak hadith. Means it's bid'ah. So that is supporting us to not to do it. Or otherwise, it is agreed upon, according to four madhahib, that it is mustahab to do, even though if hadith is weak. Even, have you heard about some scholar called Ibn Qayyim al-Jawziyya, student of Ibn Taymiyyah? So he says, even though Zadul Ma'ad, very famous book, which Salafi brothers love a lot, so it is in that, says, even though if hadith is weak, but it is agreed upon, by ijma, hadith is accepted, even if it's chain weak. So now we have super version of these brothers. Even if their scholars did accept it, they do not accept it, because hadith is weak. So we as Hanafis were affected by them, so we do not do it either. Why? Because hadith is weak. So it is protection from the Munkar and Nakir for you, but it is depending on other brothers. And as you could see, no one is doing it. So make sure that you will have your protection in your hand before you will die. So you will enter your grave with the protection in your hand. So you can be good with your parents. You know, some of my friends from back home, actually, he had very beautiful incident in his life. I wish if I would be him, you know. So what did he do? It was very hot summer. And in Uzbekistan, actually, our summer is really hot, you know. It's 40 degree plus 40, 45 is good, average. Okay, when it's in the winter, minus 30, 35. Okay, so it was one of the normal summer days, you know. Yeah, so then, no, because in the winter we have horse, so don't worry about us. Okay, so we eat horse, we keep hot. Okay, so don't worry about us. So then it was summer. So then the father of my friend, actually, he was sleeping, he was asleep. He said, oh, please, can you make wind for me? You know, just like pan, you know? Yeah, yeah. So then, because it was it is for poor family, they live in the countryside, but it's really good family, noble family. So then he started doing it, and his father fell asleep. Okay, and his father woke up in Salat al-Fajr, sometime about 4 o'clock in the summer, and he found his son still doing it, whole night. Okay, so then he said to his son, so was you awake whole night doing it? So he said, yes, father. So why so? Because he said, because you did ask me. So I didn't want you start sweating, so I did it, And you also never said me, you never told me to stop. So that's why I did it, whole night. Can you imagine? So then his father said, from now onward, do whatever you want to. I'm really pleased with you. I wish if it would be my thing. Okay? So build up your credit by these type of things, Okay, so maybe some of you are now studying, let's say in London, and your father and mother in Bradford. So you don't have many chances of coming and pleasing them. So at least give them a call. Okay, give them a call, so they will be happy. They will be really happy. Okay, so it is good credit. Okay, as well as many other things, as I did narrate the hadith, which can enter the grave with us. So make sure that you are getting your protections from the munkar and nakir with yourself. Okay, and otherwise, in terms of your friend or even your son shouting your name and your mother's name, as you could see, it never happens, except in YouTube. Okay, except in YouTube. Anyway, so I'm really sorry, we do not have that much time, so I'm afraid that we need to go to the actual Janazah chapter of Mukhtasar al-Quduri. So here are 4 pages. Inshallah, I will be reading it in Arabic and I will explain it, I will translate it into English, and then as we go, you take a note. If you find any information that I'm passing on interesting, just put a note. Okay. I'm sorry, what time is it? 1:30. 1:30. Oh, ajib. Okay, so just a couple of words about the wills. In terms of wills, it's one of the, again, abused, you can say, parts of our religion. It's sometimes to make will be wajib upon the person. For example, let's suppose that I missed 10 years of salawat or 10 years of siyam of Ramadan in my life. So in Hanafi madhab, it is wajib upon you before you will die to write a will. To write a will about paying fidya, paying penalty, refund of your missed salawat and missed siyam. Okay, and then what is the penalty? We say the one day siyam will equal 2.5 kgs of a wheat. So if you did miss, for example, 10 days of siyam, Ramadan, and you didn't fast them, you didn't make up the qada, means when you die, your sons, they have to pay off from your inheritance, from the money that you are leaving behind, they have to make the fidya of 25 kgs of wheat, or equivalent, you can say, amount of money. So how much it will, 1 kg of a wheat, how much it is it? How much is going to be? 350. So that's proper fidya, isn't it? Okay, so if it is 10 days, so then 35 pounds to be paid on behalf of you. And in Hanafi madhab, we say 1 salat will equal 1 day of siyam. So if you missed 1 day salat and you didn't make them up, then it is wajib upon you before your death to make will of 5 fidyas, because you missed 5 salawat. So it's not the salawat of 5 days, but it is for 1 day, we say 1 fidya. So whole day of siyam is 1 fidya, but not whole day of salawat is 1 fidya. So each salat is fidya. So for example, let's suppose that some of the brothers missed the salat of 10 days. So how many fidyas is compulsory upon his inheritance to pay off? 50. 50 fidyas. And each fidya, according to the brother here, is 350. So then 50 fidyas, how much is going to be? 150? 175. Okay. What about the mathematician there? Is he right here?
185.
Okay. I'm good in herbal medicine. I'm not good in maths. But I never cheated, you know. I never cheated in the exams. Yeah. So you have to be very careful. Okay. And then Rasulullah sallallahu wasallam says, if you remember, "Kun fi dunya ka'annaka gharibun aw 'abiru sabil." Be in the world as if you would be stranger or traveler. So then Ibn Umar radiallahu anhu gave interpretation saying, so when you are in the morning, do not wait till the evening. And when you are in the evening, do not wait till the morning. And then he said, make sure that you are having your will written all the time. And Ibn Umar radiallahu anhu by himself, just before falling asleep, he would read his will on daily basis. So if you have, for example, 10 years of missed salawat now, make sure that you are writing a will, you know. And as soon as you will make up, for example, one day, start decreasing it, you know. But will should be all the time there. Because when you will die, you wish in your grave that if some of your sons would pay off your debts in terms of the salawat, you know. So, but they have to be aware that you missed some salawat. How they are going to be aware if you didn't make a will? So make sure that your will is there. Okay? You know, unfortunately, I was in one of the gatherings, actually, in one of the madrasa lectures. And then it was wrong from myself. I ask Allah to forgive me because I did disclose, I did discover the brothers who committed sin. Because to miss salawat is a sin. But out of curiosity, I did ask them, I wasn't expecting. I did ask them, there was brothers and sisters also, please, any of you who has more than 1 year missed salawat, put your hand up. Do you know what was the answer? It was over 90% of the brothers and sisters. It was so painful, you know. Some of them had even 10 years. I was so sorry, you know. But I don't believe that each single of them has got will written. But 100%, not each single of them is going to reach the age of maybe 60. Most of them will die before reaching age of 40 also. Means that will never be written. It's very painful truth, you know. So you guys do not be like that. Make your will right now. If you make them up, so that's perfect. If you will not make it up, so you are secured. When you will go to the grave, so you are secured. Okay. But then question, what about if you will write your will, but your inheritance will not pay it off? We say, you did what you had to. Alhamdulillah, now you are secured. Now it's their responsibility. Okay, it is their responsibility. But again, the descendants are not responsible if you didn't leave enough amount of money. So they don't have to pay it from their pocket, but only from the money that you are leaving behind. Yes, please. Yeah, of course. So first option for you to make it up, practically to pray. But if you will be unable, which is most of us heedless people in here, okay, so at least make sure that you are writing a will. Writing a will. Okay, as well as include the debts. For example, you did borrow money from the people, so you have to have a written will, you know. Because death is so sudden. Okay, death never gives you fun, you know, never gives you bail before saying, oh, look, after 1 year, it never happens, okay. It comes so suddenly that most of us will say, yet I do have some extra, you know. If you remember, in the hadith, Rasulullah said, hadith is in Musnad Imam Ahmad. Rasulullah said that when Allah created Adam alayhi, Allah did show the descendants of Adam in the form of atoms, small molecules maybe. And then Adam alayhi looked at his descendants, and then he did like the light of one of them. It was Dawood alayhi. So, but then he was just amazed by that light, and then just he looked in. Maybe zoomed in, you can say. But then he found that his life is going to be only 60 years. Then he said, Ya Allah, it is such amazing, such a beautiful light, but unfortunately it is only 60 years. Please, increase his life, please. So then Allah said, I'm going to take from your life and add on into his life. So he said, of course, go ahead. So Dawood alayhi salam, he died when he was not 60, but 100. So extra 40 has been taken from Adam alayhi salam to be transferred to Dawood alayhi salatu wassalam. So then Rasulullah alayhi salam said, and when angel of death came to Adam alayhi salam, so Adam alayhi salam said, you are too early. I have 40 extra years. Angel of death said, don't you remember that you did give it as a gift to your son? Rasulullah alayhi salam said, فَجَحَدَ Adam فَجَحَدَتْ ذُرِّيَّتُهُ. So Adam did deny his death, so all of his descendants did deny their death. Means when our death will come, you will still insist that yet I have some certain things to do, you know. Means make sure that you have all of your debts written in your will. So it is wajib. It is wajib upon you to write down your debts. Okay. There was a hadith in which Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it was Janazah. Some of the Sahaba died, and then he had huge debt. And then some of other rich Sahaba took responsibility of paying back the debts. And when that Sahabi paid back, it took a long time actually, maybe a couple of months or a couple of years, I don't know. So then Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, right now when you did pay back all of his debts, right now his skin cooled down. The skin of your brother cooled down right now, you know. So our debts are going to keep our skin very hot in the grave. Okay, so we say, according to Hanafi madhab, it is wajib. Wajib means fard, for you to write down your wills. You know, I don't believe that majority of the brothers and sisters do not have debt. Debt towards the human being, maybe money, etc., or debts towards God. Zakat, salat, siyam. Majority of the brothers and sisters, they do have a debts. In the same time, I don't believe that majority of these people have got their wills written. I don't believe so. So make sure that you keep your skin cool even before you will enter your grave. Okay? If you remember, Rasulullah said that grave is either hall, one of the halls of the hell, or one of the gardens of paradise. So make your grave to be one of the gardens of paradise. So that is all about, you can say, wills. Babul Janaiz. إذا احتضر الرجل أو إذا احتضر الرجل وجه إلى القبلة على شقه الأيمن ولقن الشهادتين وإذا مات شدوا لحيتيه وغمضوا عينيه إلى آخره. إذا احتضر الرجل, when a person will start dying, احتضر means when death will come to him, and there are some certain signs of the person dying. Okay, so first of all, he will start looking towards the top. You know, even if he would be lying, so he will start looking at that side. Okay, as well as his nose will go toward the side. You know, and then his legs, you know, shins will start getting crossed legs. Okay. If you remember, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes the position of the death saying, وَالْتَفَّتِ السَّاقُ بِالسَّاقِ إِلَى رَبِّكَ يَوْمَئِذٍ الْمَسَاقِ فَلَا صَدَّقَ وَلَا صَلَّى وَلَكِنْ كَذَّبَ وَتَوَلَّى صَدَقَ اللَّهُ الْعَظِيمُ. وَالْتَفَّتِ السَّاقُ بِالسَّاقِ means as soon as their legs will be crossed legs. Okay, why? Because the pain is so huge that you will start tightening your muscles, so your legs will get crossed, you know. So that is the sign, the very earliest sign that you are started dying. So, one person will start dying, so he says, وُجِّهَ إِلَى الْقِبْلَةِ عَلَى شِقِّهِ الْأَيْمَنِ. So it is mustahab to put him towards, facing the Qibla on his right side. Okay, but then we say the latest Hanafi scholars say that we just leave him alone. Why? Because normally the pain is death is very huge, We will be unable to bear it. So by, moving him, it causes extra pain. So the latest Hanafis, so right now, we just leave the dying person alone. Dying anyhow, he is dying, and we do not move him. Not towards Qibla and not towards anything else. Just we leave him alone. Okay? وَلُقِّنَ الشَّهَادَتَيْنِ. And we will keep on reminding him shahadatain. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. But then talqeen, it doesn't mean that we have to insist, saying, say this, say this. We never say it. Okay? Time to time, it comes on YouTube or, for example, Google or whatever. You can see that there is someone is dying, and there are people surrounding him and insisting, saying, say this, I say it is jahilism, ignorance, Person who is dying is in very huge pain, Do not give him extra headache, Let him to die safely, So it is bid'ah to insist. But what's the meaning of reminding? We say in his presence, we slowly, gently, we carry on saying, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasul. But we say it only when he will say it, and after that, if he speaks some dunyawi thing. Okay? But if he does not speak any dunyawi thing, then we do not remind him, because his last word was, La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasul. Rasulullah says, Man kana akhiru kalamihi la ilaha illallah, dakhala al-jannah. Anyone whose last word was La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, he will enter paradise. So, according to this hadith, it could be that some of us will say La ilaha illallah, and then after that he will die after 3 days. But during that 3 days, he will say nothing. So we say it's not mustahab to remind him shahadatain, because his last word was La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. Okay, so keep it in your mind. Okay, because the action of death is very painful. So do not give to the dying person extra headache and extra pain. وَإِذَا مَاتَ شَدُّوا لِحْيَتَيْهِ وَغَمَضُوا عَيْنَيْهِ. And when he dies, just we tie up his mouth. Because as you know, when ruh leaves our body, it will be taken from our mouth. So it leaves our body from the mouth. Okay, as well as غَمَضُوا عَيْنَيْهِ, and we should close the eyes. Rasulullah says, إِذَا خَرَجَتِ الرُّوحُ تَبِعَتْهَا الْبَصَرُ أو تبعه البصر أو تبعها البصر أو كما قال النبي عليه السلام. Means when ruh will be taken, eyesight will follow it. Okay, do you know there was a silver ladder? Do you know the Mi'raj, how it happened? Isra happened from Mecca to Baytul Maqdis on the Buraq. Am I right? But Mi'raj happened, Buraq was left in Baytul Maqdis, tied on that rock, which people go to visit now. But then Rasulullah did claim that silver ladder. Okay, so each single person, when he will die, he will be taken by claiming that ladder. Okay, so then if it is the time when you have to die, that ladder will be brought to you, and then your ruh will go. So actually you will see your ruh claiming that ladder. Okay, so that's why the dead people, they will have their eyes open after the death and looking toward the top. Okay, and then the mouth will just go up. So it will just get detached from your head, this part. It will just go off. So then we just lock it up with the cotton, with the fabric, sorry. And then we just close the eyes. Okay. فإذا أرادوا غسله وضعوه على سرير وجعلوا على عورته خرقة. And when it is the time for us to give ghusl to the dead person, so first of all, we just take the person to the washing place. Okay, and then before taking off the clothes, we bring some fabric to put on top of his awra, between the belly button to the knees. So two people actually will be holding from two sides. Okay, so that is the dead. Inshallah, I'm going to show it in the practice. So that is the dead body. So the washing person will be on the side, and two people will be holding that fabric from the two sides. Okay, and now they do have, mashallah, good equipments in which they do have that two holding things in which they do tie up the fabric. So only one person can give a ghusl, or otherwise two people will be holding. And we say in Hanafi madhab, it is mustahab to invite two people. One of them is very pious and the second is disobedient. Why? Because a disobedient people, the dead body will be reminder for him. And the obedient person, because pious people normally when they make dua is accepted. Okay, so the pious people will carry on making dua, but it will be reminder for the disobedient. So it's two people. Okay, as well as we may have, normally we used to have third person who would be putting a water with a jug, and fourth person washing. And normally we have, for giving ghusl, we have certain specific gloves. It will be just normal gloves, but from this side it will be very thick fabric. So to make sure that person is not touching the skin of the dead person. Okay, so when water will be put, so he will give ghusl. Okay, so that is the fabric. So we have the dead body in front of ourselves, and then two people are holding a fabric just to make sure that you cannot see, no one can see the aura. The same thing with the women. As you know, the aura of women amongst themselves, it is between the belly button to the knees, and anything besides that is not aura. Okay. So then, وَإِذَا أَرَادُوا غُسْلَهُ وَضَعُوهُ عَلَى سَرِيرٍ وَجَعَلُوا عَلَى عَوْرَتِهِ خِرْقَةً وَنَزَعُوا ثِيَابَهُ. And after that, after keeping that fabric, we just take off the clothes. So we do not take off the clothes before putting that fabric on, just to make sure that we do not see the aura. وَوَضَّعُوهُ. And after that, the first condition, first thing is to give normal wudu, except washing the nose and mouth. Okay, so it will be normally person with locked, you can say, mouth. Okay, so then normally we put a cotton. In some of the traditions, they put cotton in the mouth as well as the nose, just to make sure that water doesn't go in. Okay, after giving ghusl, we just take it off and throw it away. Okay, but in some of the other traditions, customs, they do not put in the cotton into the nose and mouth. Okay, so we put that, and first thing we just give a ghusl, normal ghusl. So washing the face and then arms, okay, and wiping over the head, and then washing the feet as a normal, everything as a normal except washing the nose and mouth. That's it. So he says, وَلَا يُمَضْمَضُ وَلَا يُسْتَنْشَقُ. So then we do not, مضمضة is we do not wash the mouth and nose. ثُمَّ يُفِيدُونَ الْمَاءَ عَلَيْهِ. And after that, they just put a water on top of him. But then there are two ways of doing it. The first thing, there are first ways they do wash head separately, and after that the body will be separately. And there is second way, they wash everything together. Okay. Then he says, ثُمَّ يُفِيدُونَ الْمَاءَ عَلَيْهِ. That's it. وَيُجَمَّرُ سَرِيرُهُ وِتْرًا. And after that, so before giving ghusl, we just put on a perfume on the place, the wooden place, on top of which we are going to give a ghusl to the body. Okay, so the what do they call that place on which we, that stand, that table on which we give ghusl, so we put on some perfume. Okay, and normally they use the kafur, you know, so synthetic kafur is naftali, am I right? So they do put that on top of that, on top of the table. So then, وَيُغْلَى الْمَاءُ بِالسِّدْرِ أَوْ بِالْحِرْضِ. So then, water normally to be prepared with sidr. Sidr is some certain type of tree, Yemen and that area. But in here, normally we do have some specific, you can buy it from some certain shops to prepare the water. Because we heat up the water, and then there will be some perfume inside of the water. Okay, so when you will use the water, it will not be normal water. Okay, but it will be with some certain perfume. And again, most of the time they do use kafur, naftali. Okay, but if you do not have anything, then just normal water, nothing else. Okay, so we do heat up the water to give ghusl to the person. فَإِن لَمْ يَكُنْ فَالْمَاءُ الْقُرَاحِ. And if you do not have that perfume to heat up the water with, so then al-ma'u al-qurah. Al-ma'u al-qurah is just normal water. So then he says, وَيُغْسَلُ رَأْسُهُ وَلِحْيَتُهُ بِالْخِطْمِي. Al-khitmi is when you go to Saudi, you see grass, like a bush, just normal bushes. Okay, so it is type of a grass. When you touch it, it has very beautiful, very nice smell. Okay, so not when you start, when you get engaged into this thing, into washing the body, you will find some certain shops in which they do sell different perfumes, you know. So it's mainly kafur. So then he says that head and the beard will be washed with the water with khitmi. Okay, and it is a tradition with that Arabians used to do before Rasulullah, and Rasulullah came and confirmed. Okay, so then ثُمَّ يُذْجَعَ عَلَى شِقِّهِ الْأَيْسَرِ. So after washing the head, then we put the person on his, so we turn the person on his left side. So right side will be towards you, towards your face. So here is the body, we just turn him. Okay, so before he was, when we were giving ghusl, he was just on his back, lying. And then we turn the person, so to be lying on his left side, so we can wash the right side. Okay. ثم يُذْجَعَ على شقه الأيسر فيغسل بالماء والسدر حتى يرى أو حتى يرى أن الماء قد وصل إلى ما يلي التحت منه. So then we just put him on his left side, and then we start giving him ghusl on his right side. So one person will be putting water with the jug, and the second person will be wiping. So wiping is not to get rid of the dirt, but to make sure that water reaches each single part of the body. Okay, so you don't have to wipe, okay, but just to make sure that water reaches, that's it. Okay, but then question now, is it permissible now to use that, you know, tap, not the jug, but that pipe, you know? So we say it will be permissible, but you have to make sure that you are not wasting water, because israf is makruh all the time. So it's permissible now to use that, you know, with the switch with, you know, so you can switch it off and on with your finger. Okay, so the most important thing, you have to make sure that you're not wasting water. Israf is makruh all the time. So then there are two ways again. So because it is sunnah to give ghusl for 3 times, am I right? So from each part, from each side, you have to do it for 3 times. Okay, so then some of the people do it 3 times in one go, but some people do once on right, and then once on left, and then once on right, and then again. So I say the first is more better, easier. Okay, because there will be some bodies which will be that for a long time, so it will start decomposing. So as soon as you will start moving it, you know, left and right, so some parts can get off. Do I have any immature? No. Are we going to demonstrate it there, where the outside is easy there, isn't it? So okay, now just theoretical thing, but practically, inshallah, I will show it. So some of you is going to imitate. Do I have that doll?
Yes.
Okay, good. So no need, don't worry. Then he says, so 3 times from the right side. ثم يُذْجَعُ على شقه الأيمن فيغسل. So when you're washing from the right side, you have to see that water did reach towards the end. But it's not necessary to wash the left side also, but to make sure that the right half is washed properly. Okay, then you will turn the dead body on its right side, so left side will be towards you. So you can give a ghusl on the left side for 3 times. Okay, so make sure that when you're washing the body, the water, water should go everywhere. But what about the awra? So we say because 2 people will be holding the fabric, so it will be just in front of your face. And you will keep the jug so underneath of the fabric, and your hand will go again underneath of the fabric. So you will not see it, but you will give ghusl to it. Okay, but then what about if there is no people to hold the fabric? In that case, you have to make sure that you are avoiding the awra as much as you can. Okay. The most beneficial and the most rewardable thing in Islam is to help the people, to serve the people. Okay. So for example, let's say that there are, for example, ill person. So if you will treat him, so the reward of that will equal maybe 1 year of praying tahajjud. Okay, so do you remember, for example, we say as Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, the deed of awliya is the most rewardable. Am I right? So we have an example of one of the awliya in Quran. It is Khidr alayhi salam. Am I right? So can you remember what he used to do? Help out the people, am I right? First is he did kill some child. Why? Because otherwise this child would give really hard time to his parents. And the second thing, what did he do? He did destroy that sheep, Why? Because if he wouldn't destroy, that oppressive king would take off that sheep. So then these poor people who used to work on it, they wouldn't be able to afford their life. And the third thing, he did straighten the wall. So, but in Quran, it never says that Khidr alayhi salam was praying. So from the time when Musa alayhi salam came, he spent 40 days praying. It never mentions. But Quran only quotes what did he do in terms of helping out the people. So we say the most rewardable deeds in Islam is to help out the people. Okay, so someone is ill, so help him out. Okay, someone has got for example, problem, so help him. As well as some person is dead, so when he is dead, so to give ghusl is very rewardable. Why? Because you're not only helping the dead person, but you are giving peace to the alive person also. I know one of the awliya passed away who used to give ghusl on his own. Because to give ghusl to the dead person is not very pleasing job. Am I right? So he used to be doing it on his own. So that is perfect service given to the people. Okay. So now he is dead. So now 3-4 people are working, replacing him, Yeah. So what he would do, he would just have the body and then he will just lock himself and then he would just give ghusl and he will prepare so perfectly and then he would put it inside of the coffin, tabut. So then when people would come, they would only lift the coffin to take it to the janazah and after that to the grave. Okay, so it's just perfect help to the people. So anyway, after that, that body will be washed from the left side for 3 times again. And after that, ثُمَّ يُجْلِسُهُ وَيُسْنِدُهُ إِلَيْهِ. And after that, you will just put the person, after washing the body, and then you will just try to lift the body from the shoulders, just slightly, not to make him to be standing or sitting. Just you will lift and you will put the person on your shoulder. And then you should wipe on the tummy of the person gently. Okay? Not very harshly. Normally now in our time, they do it very harshly because we do this practice just to make sure that if there is some urine or etc., it will be just released. Okay, if anything comes out, urine or even another thing, then we wash the place only, the exit only. We do not repeat whole ghusl again, but only we wash that part. Okay, normally, with Rasulullah ﷺ, it was Ali ibn Abi Talib who did this. Okay, so Ali radiallahu anh did put on his shoulder and then he wiped the tummy of Rasulullah gently. And there was nothing, so Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anh who said, طِبْتَ حَيًّا وَمَيِّتًا يَا Rasulullah. you are perfect when you are alive and when you are dead also. Okay. You know, there is Naqshbandi tariqa. Do I have any Naqshbandis here? Okay, all of them Wahhabis. Okay, that's fine. So in Naqshbandi practice, they say one of the procedures they do, they say we do not eat a lot. Why? It's not to go against the desire only, but to make sure that if you die, not to give hard time to the people who give you ghusl. So if you do not eat a lot, so when they wipe, nothing comes out. Okay, so it is just perfect help to the people, you know, because they are trying to give you ghusl, so you will help them out to not to hurt, you know, them their feeling also. Okay, so it's just beautiful thing. So they say, Naqshbandi say, do not eat a lot, to not to confuse when they are giving you ghusl, as well as to not to give them extra headache when they are lifting you, you know. Okay, so it is, I say, extra cautiousness of Naqshbandis. So that is the, so after this, so that is the only procedure of giving ghusl, nothing else. So after this, he says, ثُمَّ يُنَشِّفُهُ فِي ثَوْبٍ, and after that, we just wipe the body with the towel. Okay, so there will be some towel, so we just wipe the body. ويدرج في أكفانه ويجعل الحنوت على رأسه ولحيته والكافور على مساجده. So then he says, after that we just roll him up into the coffin. Inshallah, he's going to explain it. So then before that we do put some certain perfume which is specifically prepared for the dead people on the head, on the beard, as well as kafur, again naftali, on the sajda places. So it is the forehead, nose and palms, okay, as well as the feet. Okay, as a respect to the sajda places, because normally when insects will start eating our body, just to make sure that the sajda places will die, will get decomposed as the last, okay, as last turn. والسنة أن يكفن الرجل في ثلاثة أثواب إزار وقميص ولفافة فإن اقتصروا على ثوبين جاز. So then sunnah way is to use 3 pieces of cloth for the male, but for the female 5 pieces. Okay, so what are these 3 pieces? So it is izar and qamis and lifafa. Izar normally will cover all of the body from the head up to the toes. Okay, and then qamis will be from the shoulders always up to the toes, and lifafa will be on top of all of that. Okay, so it will be covering from the head up to the toes. Okay, normally lifafa will be just slightly taller than the body, just to tie up from the sides. Okay, and normally after putting on the kaffans, we do use some fabric to tie up from the middle, because when we lift it, we don't want it to be uncovered, you know. And when we just put the body inside of the grave, we take off that fabric when that we tie up on the chest. Okay. What time is it? 12 now. So that's all about the theoretical side. And then he says, وَتُكَفَّنُ الْمَرْأَةُ فِي خَمْسَةِ أَثْوَابٍ. So in terms of women, they do use five pieces of fabric. So it is the same 3, izar, qamis and lifafa, exactly the same size, and extra khimar and khirqa. Khimar is the scarf which will cover the head up to the belly button, and khirqa for the breasts, for the chest. Okay, so what do? They just put on the khirqa on the chest, and then they just tie it up, either on the sides or either on the back. Okay, so that will be just tied up. But then if they do not have enough fabrics, so then as a minimum it should be 2 for men okay, and 3 for women, okay. Then he says, فإن اقتصروا على ثلاثة أثواب جاز. So if with the women, if they will have only as a minimum 3 fabrics, so that is sufficient. ويكون الخمار فوق القميص تحت اللفافة. Khimar will be on top of the qamis and underneath of the lifafa. Okay, so the first thing that you tie up is mainly izar, and after that qamis, and then lifafa for men. Okay, but for the women you do the same. Okay, first izar will go, and then qamis, and on top of that they do put on the scarf, and then on top of everything just lifafa, tied up from the sides. Then he says وَيُجْعَلُ شَعْرُهَا عَلَى صَدْرِهَا, and then we do put on the hairs on top of the chest. If she has long hairs, then it will be just put on top of the chest. And then ولا يسرح شعر الميت ولا لحيته ولا يقص ظفره ولا يقص شعره. And we do not comb the hair, and we do not comb the beard also, and we do not cut the nails if there is any, and we do not shave the hairs. We do not do nothing. We just leave it as it is. And normally after washing the hair and beard, it will just go like that, you know. We don't care. We leave it as it is. Okay. There was a situation in which, in the time of Sayyidah Aisha, some young lady passed away, and then they started combing. You know, after the ghusl, they combed her hair and they did cut the nails. Sayyidah Aisha saw that. So then she said, "Alama tuzayyinuna mawtakum." She said, "Why are you beautifying your dead people?" So we say it's makruh to do so. Do not do it. وَتُجَمَّرُ الْأَكْفَانُ قَبْلَ أَنْ يُدْرَجَ فِيهَا وِتْرًا. And we do put on a perfume on the fabrics, kafan, for 3 times, you know, before started putting the dead body inside of it. فَإِذَا فَرَغُوا مِنْهُ صَلُّوا عَلَيْهِ. And when they will finish off the ghusl and kafan procedure, after that they have to pray janazah straight away. In Hanafi madhab, it is makruh after giving ghusl and after preparing the body to wait. It is makruh to wait. No, maybe someone is coming from far. We say it's not permissible. Straight after preparing the dead body, you have to pray janazah straight away. And straight after janazah, you have to take the person to bury. Yeah. No, nothing is permissible. Because that person has to be respected. And the way of respecting the dead person to not to let it to start decomposing, you know. So you have to bury it as soon as possible.
But for example, if say the hospital is not releasing the body straight away.
No, because then what you can do then? It's not in your hand, isn't it?
Right, okay.
As soon as it will be in your hand, in your control, you have to do it straight away. Yeah. Okay, so that's all. And also, as you know, dead body can feel as a live human being. So if you slap the dead body, it will give him pain also, okay? So there is hadith in which Rasulullah says, crushing the bone of dead body is the same as crushing the bone of a live human being, okay? It will, sorry? Yes, because if she would be alive, it would invalidate her wudu, am I right? So you have to take that off. Okay, and normally this type of makeup will not be permissible if lady is in normal situation, but only in her monthly period. Because if you have that thing, makeup on your nails, so when you make wudu, it will block the water, so your wudu is not valid. Okay, so in the past, if you did it for 10 days, for example, you have to repeat all of these salawat of 10 days, you know. So that thing will be permissible only during the monthly period only. As soon as your circle will stop, you have to just remove it, because it will block your wudu from the validity. So you have to just take it off.
But
Sorry?
Jewelry, like earrings or...
Yeah, of course, you will take it off, yes, of course, yeah. You'll take it off. And even if there will be golden, for example, a ring, normally, sometimes it will be stuck in the finger. So we bring that thing to cut it. So we cut it and we just take it off.
So what if you've got any, people have fake teeth and stuff like that you have to remove?
Just take it off. No, we just leave it. So there are two types of golden teeth. First of all, it's not permissible except in some certain conditions, you know. But if there are two types of teeth, one is proper, just stuck in there, so you leave it, and the second is like cover, you know. They just put it, so you have to take that off. No, what you can do with it? You just leave it as it is. You cannot do anything with it. It doesn't go. It does not go. Block. Because normally it's just attached to the teeth, isn't it? So you have to do with some equipment to take it off. So anything which needs for some equipment, instrument to take off, you leave it. Well, except maybe silver, golden ring. Cut it, you just take it off. Okay, so that's all about the theoretical side. And now, inshallah, we are going to have our practical thing.